Hello everyone and welcome back to the Common Sense Crypto channel. As with you always, this is Rich doing another video today on XRP. So I hope you're all having a wonderful day today wherever you are in this great world. We're going to talk about XRP. And I want to start with this because I meant to mention this in that last video. The AMM bug is fixed. You know, when this bug was discovered, everybody acted like that was it for the AMM. And Ripple got on it very quick, and they got it fixed very fast. What I'm waiting to see now is what type of value is going to come to XRP through the AMM. And I'm sure we're going to find out in the short term. Then there's going to be a lot of predictions for the price of XRP. We'll wait and see what happens. Then there's this. Boom. XRP is better than Bitcoin, says Vitalik Buterin. That was back in 2022. You know, there was a time when Vitalik said a lot of things about XRP. He once called it the Internet of Value as well. But then he went on to call XRP a shitcoin. And then he fudded on XRP here and there. But now it looks like Vitalik is going to have a few problems with the SEC. Do you remember when Vitalik Buterin laughed at Ripple? Now have fun fighting in court, Vitalik. But the difference between ETH and XRP is that XRP is not a security. Good luck, buddy. This comes from Jack the Rippler. Take a listen.
This describes some crypto as securities. Which ones do you think of as securities?
It's pretty clear, and the Supreme Court has actually spoken about this many times. If somebody is raising money, selling a token,
start the Ether pre-sale in a couple of weeks. So the Ether pre-sale will be an opportunity for anyone to purchase Ether, where Ether is the internal currency inside of the Ethereum system, sort of like the XRP and Ripple.
And the buyer is anticipating profits.
What we're hoping is that sort of similar to what happened with Mastercoin. If that slice is something like 20%, and then the value of Ether goes up by 5, then we basically have the entire initial BTC that we got all over again.
Based on the efforts of that group.
About 100 people that are working on Ethereum right now.
So it pretty much told you in that video exactly what ETH is. It's a security. And I think Vitalik's going to have a rough time in court with the SEC if it comes down to that. And, you know, I once said back in 2022 that I think if Gary loses in court multiple times, he can find an easy win with Ethereum. And I think he realizes that. And that's why most likely they're going in this direction right now. And I will never hold Ethereum. I never seen the value in it myself, and I never liked any of the ERC20 tokens either. There's a few good ones out there, but whenever something was tied to Ethereum and you had to pay those astronomical gas fees, it just never appealed to me. I don't know about you. What's your thoughts? Put it in the comments section down below. This comes from Wrath of Conman. Ripple cited a few times in a new Mastercard report the future of remittances in Latin America, digitalization, multiple rails, and the strategic role of partnerships as an example of blockchain and remittances and CBDCs. XRP not directly mentioned. You know, a lot of people pointed out in the comment section, yeah, but they're just talking about Ripple. But remember back a few years ago when David Schwartz talked about how RippleNet gets them in the door. Then later they start to utilize XRP. I think we will see that come over time. Note, there are some other Ripple payments users listed too. RIA. They mentioned dozens of governments consulting about CBDCs. You know, when it comes to CBDCs, we see so many countries working with Ripple already. It isn't quite clear the context of the dozen governments that are working with, but I believe it's a global quote, not limited to Latin America. We know most of those governments already, and as time goes on, we're going to see more governments work with the XRP ledger. More countries will come on board over time. But we are not at the point where XRP is moving any amount of money in between two CBDCs yet. That's all going to come later. And that's why I said in that last video I did that you don't want to be a bag holder in this next run-up. Take some profits, sit back, continue to stay patient, let XRP reach its full potential. Now, I talked about how the US government is going to push towards regulations. This comes from Carolyn DeFam from the CFTC. She's talking about the rest of the world on digital assets. She says the US has been very active in participating. Take a listen.
I forgot to provide the sum up. So where is the U.S. compared to the rest of the world? Right. I must not forget the punchline. I think actually, given that the U.S., and you wouldn't necessarily know from the political discourse in Washington, but the U.S. has been very active in participating, obviously, in the international fora, in the FSB. The SEC is actually the co-lead of the IOSCO FinTech Task Force, which is looking at digital assets, among other things, together with the MAS. And then, of course, the Basel Committee. And the Treasury Department has been instrumental in coordinating much of that international engagement. So while the public and the political narrative in the U.S. Is negative on digital assets, I think if you actually look at what's happening in the FSB and IOSCO and the Basel Committee, there's a more promising story there. And I do think this might be a circumstance where actually by the need to adhere to the international standards, it may actually pull the U.S. Into more of an alignment with the rest of the world. I think that actually.
Take notice what she said. It could pull the U.S. in alignment with the rest of the world. Like I said, global crypto regulations are coming. So once MiCA goes live, all of a sudden the U.S. will most likely push in the same direction as MiCA. Other countries that are falling behind right now will most likely adopt those same regulations as well. Because regulations have to be the same from one country to another for cross-border payments to work. Everything is going according to what I was seeing a year ago. Because as retail investors, we talk about regulations a lot. And a lot of people think that the U.S. is going to take years to catch up with the rest of the world. No, they're just going to adopt what's already out there. And they're going to come like an overnight event. And then 99% of crypto will disappear at the same time. DTCC T+1 settlement launches in 2 months, one step closer to a real-time tokenized market. Now, I think we will shift to T+0, which will include DLT over time. But this is where we are right now. Are there any other markets expected to move to T+1? Yes, the situation is as follows. Canada is aligned with the U.S. market move with the implementation date of May 27th of this year. Mexico is working towards a T+1 migration in May of this year, but an implementation date has not yet been confirmed. Brazil and Colombia have T+1 on the horizons and are beginning discussions. Both the UK and EU have developed task forces to discuss T+1. The EU is currently considering other regulatory terms such as CSDR prior to T+1 implementation with ongoing conversations. So we're going to start to move towards tokenization this year, and it's going to happen very fast. We're going to see a tokenized market quicker than we think, and that could bring utility to certain cryptocurrencies over time. Are we tired of big money millionaire Senator Warren lies and hypocrisy yet? Enough of this class warfare bullshit. Now she's talking about going after Bezos and all the other billionaires to make sure that they're paying their fair share of taxes. You know, she is struggling to keep up now because she went anti-crypto too soon. She went full anti-crypto when she should have just walked into it and tested the water instead. Now she's drowning in it because now Johnny Deaton is coming for her job. You know, these politicians, they always go right back to the same message. We got to tax the billionaires. These rich people they don't coincide with our thinking. In other words, they try to relate to us, but they can't relate to us because we are still working class, 9 to 5 working people. And, you know, all we want to do is get rich off of our crypto. And it's people like her that's trying to prevent that from happening. BRICS invites all countries to join in it killing the US dollar. So we're going to start to see more countries go in this direction. And like I said, the BRICS coming for the US dollar could push the value of the US dollar down. That could also play into that super cycle event that I seen playing out for crypto. Because as the DXY falls, crypto and the stock market rises. The Federal Reserve is spilling all the beans. This comes from ISO Goat. And you see, Ripple has a great solution for this. Private stablecoins could use this option. A solid public sector method of exchanging CBDC for cross-border payments like what Ripple offers. Domestic transactions should be just as easy as international transactions. The ledger should be public, account information private. A public distributed ledger, nodes in the post office, offers a strong cyber resiliency. Remember, they want secure payments as well. Citizens should have a choice of using the Fed CBDC or an alternative Treasury-issued CBDC. Remember I said that the Fed is not going to be the one to announce a CBDC. It's going to be the Treasury. Wait and see. Or even a private bank-issued stablecoin CBDC. Cash should not go away. Freedom of choice. You know, here in the US, I think it's going to be a struggle to get rid of cash over time, even with incentives to use the CBDC. People with money will still push away from a CBDC. They're gonna want to keep cash. That's going to be the toughest sell here in the United States. And at the same time, we have pro-crypto politicians that are anti-CBDC at the same time. They don't even want a CBDC to be created. But we all know it's still coming. I still think the Treasury is going to announce it once we have a banking crisis. And I think they're going to create that crisis this year. Ripple is going to announce some news in a few days, and I hope the whole community is ready to bear it, because we might see the biggest green candle of all time in the history of crypto. You know, here's the way I look at it. April Fool's Day is coming. We are going to get all kinds of crazy announcements about XRP on that day. And I think we're going to get those announcements leading up to that day as well. I always look at the crypto space like this. I'm the most patient person you will ever meet because I learned those patience over time. I'm now one of those wait and see people. Whenever I see a big announcement, I always even hold back on creating videos because I want to wait and see how it plays out throughout the day. Most of the time, there's things I don't even talk about because they start out as something big and fizzle out throughout the day. I like to bring you the facts. I like to talk about real-world events that coincide with crypto as well. This way, we have no big expectations. And if the price of XRP takes off, great. Then we're all happy about it. But it's better than me hyping things up, making you anticipate big things and only be disappointed in the end. And that's why I always said, you know, along the way, we're going to talk about different price points for XRP. A lot of those are going to be based on things that are playing out in the background as well. And we're going to cross many bridges together. And it's going to be an exciting time over the coming months. And I cannot wait to share that with all of you. But until it happens, stay patient, stay positive, and let's get rich together. With that said, I'm going to wrap up this video. I want to thank you all for watching. I appreciate all of you. I'll see you in the next one. Have a great night.